Eunice earlier. Committed, I guess, in March in the spring. Came in for the Nations League, didn't play, out for the first group of qualifiers. And then a guy you obviously are relying on heavily this window. How do you keep a guy engaged when he's waiting and waiting and waiting? He's disappointed not to play in Nations League. He misses out on the first window. How do you keep a guy plugged in and connected and eager and confident so when it's time to use him now, he's ready?
Well, I think it's communication, right? I talk to all the guys about, understanding that they'd be disappointed if they're not on the field, if not in the starting 11, and that's just part of it. But part of building a strong team is to have everyone engaged and everyone pulling in the same direction. In Eunice's case, coming into the Nations League, playing at altitude, he wasn't playing regularly for his club, and we didn't feel like it was the right time. He played in the following fixture against Costa Rica in the friendly. He did really well. He would have been called into September, except he was injured. And now, as soon as we can get him back in, we brought him in. But the whole time we're communicating with his club, communicating with him, watching games. Our assistant coach, Nico Estevez, does a great job of cutting up all his video and working with him. And so, the connection's really strong with Eunice and us.
Ron Blum?
Eunice said Nico talked to him his first year at Valencia,
Yep.
and then you called him,
Yep.
and he was really impressed with the conversation about a year later.
Uh-huh.
What was that conversation like? What were your selling points on the team? Did you have to sell it?
Yeah, I think, I feel like we're kind of going back in time a little bit with these questions, but, we talked about this a lot, right? At the time when he changed over, it was a lot of conversations about what this young group could do and the potential of this young team, the players we had in the pool, how we saw him fitting into our team, talking about America and what we want to do as a group. And I think that's what really, I think really got him excited about the project.
Stephen?
Greg, it's a very complicated situation with the UK travel and the decisions you have to make.
Yeah.
Could you explain some of that process that you had to go through? Because I guess they could have, they are able to go back and play, but in a very limited role. So what was those conversations like, and how did you come to the decision to leave in the States?
You're talking about Zach and Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was a decision made together with their clubs and with the players, and understanding their lifestyle and understanding, when they get back, what the quarantine would entail. And, it's a 3-game window. It wasn't likely that we were going to play those players, 90 minutes, 3 times 90 minutes. So we felt like this made the most sense. It's not an exact science, but we made the best possible decision, taking the human element into it, taking the club side into it, and taking, our needs to win games, balancing all 3 things.
Jeff Carlisle?
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Jeff.
What are you expecting out of Panama? Because so far the results have been a bit all over the place. Just what are your expectations out of their team?
Well, I wouldn't say they've been all over the place. I say it's been very consistent. They don't let up a lot of chances. They're the lowest expected goals of the first 4 games. We're second lowest. Strong defensive team, heavy crossing team. The one outlier game was the last game, and I don't know if you saw the field conditions and what they were dealing with. It was a very difficult game to play in. It was monsoon type rains. Field was flooded. It was an abnormal game. It's a good team. It's a very physically strong team. They'll be very aggressive in duels. They're very good attacking in the penalty box.
Grant Wall?
Greg, we talked a little bit about how Musa is very effective, especially in the second half, carrying the ball forward the other night against Jamaica, but he didn't really do that in the first half. From your perspective, what are the factors that went into him not doing it in the first half and then being so successful at it in the second half?
Well, I think that's a function of space, Grant. In the second half, when we got the goal early in the second half, Jamaica opened up more, right? In the first half, they're more compact. And as they open up, it leads to space, and you can take space in a couple ways. You can pass through space or you can dribble. And he's very good at dribbling through space, and it helps open up other passing options as he commits that defender. And it's a good weapon. I think in the first half, what you saw is maybe him maneuvering away from defenders in tighter type of space to make a pass. And, it's about finding that balance of playing quickly and freeing teammates up to create advantages.
Paul Tenorio?
Hey Greg, you started last game very aggressively, obviously 18 seconds in, had a shout for a potential red card, got in behind the back line.
It was a red card, right?
I thought so, yes.
How is it not a red card?
That I
Seriously,
don't know the answer.
how is it not a red card?
Didn't what the fourth official say? You grabbed him or you talked to him?
Well, I don't think he was in position to make a call. Like, I think he was relying on the head referee. But to me, it's still, I don't see how you don't give a red card there.
Well, in the second one too, if you called a foul, it almost automatically is foul, so.
I didn't even think that was a foul.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a foul.
But considering how aggressively you played overall in that game and started in that game, do you carry that same mindset over onto the road in Panama, or does being an away team, understanding the pressure that the home team is going to be facing to get points, make things force you to be a little bit more reactive early in the game before you start to push, or do you want to carry over that same mentality, mindset, aggressiveness tomorrow?
It's a good question. Good question. I think that, when you look at El Salvador game, I think we started the game very aggressively. When we played Honduras, it was the third game in the window. We chose to sit back a little bit more in the beginning. So we'll figure it out. I think it's a good question to contemplate, though.
Sam?
Was there anything you noticed on the rewatch for the Jamaica game that really stuck out to you when you were watching live? And what was the process like with the decision with Weston, and what's the severity of his injury?
Well, Weston, it's light. It's not severe, but we had to weigh, would he be able to play in this game? And we thought no. And then the second thing is, is traveling, will that do him good, or is it better to go to Columbus and start getting rehab to try to prepare him for Wednesday? That was what we're balancing. So you guys were on the flight, some of you are on the flight, to fly 4 hours and then go back the next day. We just felt, what? For your muscle, for recovery, it's better for him to go to Columbus. And then with the Jamaica game, again, we talked all week, and you guys got tired of me saying the word verticality and playing behind them, but that was a focus of the game, and I feel like we executed it well.
Daniel?
Greg, how different is the 4-3-3 in an away game like this, especially in the midfield, trying to gain some balance, I guess?
I think it's all about balance, right? That's what the whole game is about. How can we attack and still be balanced? How can we press after we lose the ball? How can we make spaces small? How can we, still be aggressive? How can we move together as a block? I think one thing, I'll be critical of against Jamaica is I thought at times the shape got a little bit too stretched. They were playing long balls, and I think front to back we're a little bit too open, and we want to control that a little bit better. So I think in any formation, as long as the distances between your teammates are small, you can accomplish that.
We'll go to Ivis Galarcep.
Greg, as far as Panama goes, in September, they had a good September, good results. One unique thing about them, their coach, they played the same starting 11 every match, and now they've played 9 of those 11 in this match. So whereas you've had 22 different starters, do you see a potential there for an advantage on your side where maybe they've got a lot of minutes on that core group of players? Do you see that potential being an advantage for your team considering how you've rotated? And a follow up on the vibe in the camp. Obviously, going into El Salvador, you had all these guys who've never been in a road qualifier before. Now you're coming into this camp, it's their third. A lot of these guys have been through this a few times. Do you feel a different vibe? Is there a comfort level? Do you feel like kind of like maybe these guys feel a lot more comfortable now? Is that tangible? Do you sense that in the camp?
Well, I think it was just about learning. Again, we spoke a lot about how you can talk about what these games are like, but until you play in them, you don't really know. And for our group, it was about learning what these games are about. It was an important step in this team. I say over and over and over that it's still surprising that in general it's not talked about enough how young this team is and what we're doing. being so young. Last game, again, 23.3 was the average age of the starters, or 23 point, something like that. It's a really young team, and you need to learn, and we need to gain this experience, and all these games are helpful in doing that. So tomorrow night will be, another game that's going to help us grow as a team. What was the first part of your question? Sorry.
Panama's game spot.
Yeah, I think it's an advantage for Panama because it's continuity. They're playing together all the time. If you get them early in the window, they're not fatigued, they're not tired. So tomorrow, I think will be a good game. They're going to be, they're going to be fresh. Probably play a similar lineup. Cascarilla has been out this whole window, so he won't play. But other than that, they have a good, strong team.
We'll go to Paul Kennedy.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Greg. Can you speak a little bit about Luca De La Torre in terms of what he brought to the team, what he brought in the game on Thursday night, and also just the example he sets by being vocal about a path of how to make the team and what it shows that he was able to accomplish that?
I didn't hear any comments about what it takes to make the team. I didn't hear any of that. Can someone fill me in?
No, just being talking about how he was going to sit out the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
To play for Heracles,
Yep.
and then because he needed to do that to put himself in position to make the team, and he did.
Yeah, no, it was a risk on his part, right? I think some guys, have established themselves by having a very strong Gold Cup, and for Luca, it was him wanting to focus on his club soccer and wanting to play really well there, that he would get included in what we're doing here. And I commend him because we had an open and honest conversation, and he thought it'd be best to go to preseason and cement his place in the team, and he did that. And he's been playing really well with his team. And, what he gives us is this dribbling with the ball, this fluidity, very good passer of the ball, understands how to create advantages when he has the ball. So, for us, it was important to get him experience in World Cup qualifiers. And I think now when you look at our midfield group, I think everyone except Gianluca has played in World Cup qualifiers and knows what this is about. So hopefully in this window, we'll be able to get Gianluca on the field as well.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge.
Hey Greg, I wanted to ask about Brendan Aaronson, who's a guy that over the last few months has arguably been your most consistent player. Over the last 10 months or so, just from the outside, it looks like he's grown a lot, just in terms of his confidence off the field, his decisiveness, his creativity, everything like that. So over the last few months, what have you seen change in him really as a player and as a person, and how has that change kind of helped him assert himself in these games where you really kind of needed him to step up and take on a bigger role?
I just think Brendan's the type of guy that is really focused on what he wants to achieve in his career. And, he's methodical about the way he's been going about it. It's about steady, constant improvement and using every game, every training session to get better. And, I think he's a great example for the rest of the group is, just this slow and steady improvement really helps get you places. And, he's done a great job with the team. His work rate, his energy, his final product is all really strong. So he's done a good job.
Last question goes to Ron Blum.
The decision playing Miles and Tyler, every minute for Miles and almost every minute for Tyler, was it something you saw? Was it conditioning metrics? Was it your personnel, tactics?
I think there was a little bit of necessity due to our fullback situation in the first window that we felt like we needed to move Tyler into that position. So it was hard to rest him. And then with Miles, Miles has shown both with his club and country that he can handle 3 games in 7 days. You look what he's been doing with Atlanta, you look in the Gold Cup with us, he's played all those games. So, one thing we're looking at to get these players on the field safely is the work they've been doing. And he's accumulated that load that, we didn't hesitate to play him, 3 times 90 minutes.